The prince waited for me beneath a sky that had no moon. Not darkness, not exactly. The Fey realm did not understand simple things like night and day. Everything there glowed wrong, like the world had been dipped in silver and poison and left to breathe. I stood barefoot on an obsidian path, my feet cold against stone that pulsed like a heartbeat. Black roses climbed the trees around me, their petals opening and closing as if they were whispering secrets with their mouths full. At the end of the path he stood, tall, beautiful, dangerous in a way that made every instinct in my body sharpen. Silver hair fell around his face like spilled moonlight. His eyes were dark, too dark, like someone had carved windows into a place where screams went to die. A crown of black thorns sat on his head, each point tipped with a bead of red. He smiled at me like I had arrived late to my own wedding. "Imani of the first threshold," he said softly. That name crawled over my skin. I folded my arms, because apparently even in dreams, my mouth had no survival instinct. "You lot are really committed to being dramatic, aren't you?" His smile widened. "You wear defiance beautifully. I also wear irritation very well. Want to see?" The roses around us trembled. Some of them laughed, actual flowers laughing. I hated the Fey realm so much. The prince stepped closer, and the silver mark on my shoulder burned beneath the thin strap of my nightdress. I looked down. The mark glowed through the fabric, bright and alive, shaped like moonlight caught in thorn roots. Ralph's mark. My choice. Mine. The prince's gaze lowered to it, and something cold moved behind his eyes. The wolf marked what was already promised. My spine stiffened. I am not a thing on layaway. No. His voice softened. You are a door, a crown, a bloodline older than the wolves who keep snarling at your heels. Careful, I said. One of those wolves bites. His eyes lifted to mine. The wolf had to learn to choose you. I was born waiting for you. The words hit harder than I wanted them to. Not because I believed him, because some ugly part of me remembered Ralph's rejection, remembered his cold face, his brutal mouth, the way he had tried to throw me away before I even knew what I was. The prince saw it. Of course he did. Fae were like debt collectors for emotional damage. He reached out, not touching me, but close enough that the air between his fingers and my cheek went cold. Come to my court, Shanara. RedMoon calls you Luna, but do they obey you? The wolf calls you mate, but does he trust you with the truth? Do not talk about him. But you wonder. His voice slid over me like silk hiding a blade. You wonder if his love is protection or possession. The path cracked beneath my feet. Somewhere far away, a wolf growled, my wolf. Not mine like property, mine like a storm I had survived and still wanted to stand inside. Ralph chose me, I said. The prince leaned closer. And when the choice costs him everything again, I woke with a gasp. The bedroom snapped into focus around me. Dark walls, heavy curtains, rain tapping hard against the windows of RedMoon House. The fire in the grate had sunk low, burning red and gold. My heart hammered so violently, I thought it might bruise my ribs. Ralph was already awake. Of course he was. He sat beside me in bed, shirtless, shadows clinging to the hard lines of his chest and shoulders. The man looked like a sin with a security detail. His dark hair was messy, his beard rougher than usual, and his eyes had that wolf-bright glow that told me something inside him had heard my fear before I could speak it. His hand closed around my wrist, firm but careful. What did you see? I swallowed, still tasting roses and cold air. Good morning to you too. His grip tightened slightly. Not enough to hurt. Enough to remind me that Ralph Blackwood did not do helpless well. Shanara. There it was. My name in that low warning tone. The one that used to piss me off before it started doing other things to my body that I refused to discuss with God as my witness. I dragged a hand over my face. The prince. A growl rolled out of him so deep the windows trembled. Don't start, I said quickly. His eyes flashed. He was in your dreams? Yes. What did he do? Nothing. Ralph went very still. I sighed. Not nothing like that. He talked. That is not nothing. He called me Imani again, said I was promised, said the bond doesn't change the old bargain. The room turned colder. For a second, neither of us spoke. The silver mark on my shoulder pulsed once. Ralph's eyes dropped to it. Something raw moved across his face before he buried it under all that alpha stone. But I felt it through the bond now. That was the problem with choosing a supernatural, emotionally constipated man. His face lied, but the bond snitched. Fear, rage, possession, and underneath all of it, guilt. I shifted closer before I could stop myself. Don't. His jaw flexed. Don't what? Don't sit there blaming yourself for a bargain some dead ancestor made before either of us were even bad ideas. He is using what I did to you. I knew what he meant. The rejection, that old wound had teeth. Even now, even after the gate, after his wolf came back, after I chose him in blood and silver and madness, it still knew how to bite. Ralph. He looked at me then, and the room seemed too small for him. For us. For everything we had survived and still hadn't said properly. I rejected you because a curse forced my mouth open, he said, voice rough. But the words were still mine. You heard them in my voice. He will use that. He already did. Pain flickered in his eyes. I hated that. I hated seeing him hurt. It did inconvenient things to my anger. So what? I asked. You want to go down there and punch the dream realm? If it bleeds, yes. Romantic. I'm not trying to be romantic. That much has been clear from the beginning. His mouth twitched. Barely. On Ralph, that was practically a public festival. Then his gaze dropped to my lips. The air changed. It was always like that with him. One second we were arguing about ancient fae contracts, and the next my body remembered every inch of him like it had been taking private notes. His fingers slid from my wrist to my palm. The contact sent heat straight up my arm. Not fae magic, not curse, not destiny doing its dramatic little dance. Just him. Ralph Blackwood, sitting in my bed like the world had tried to take him from me, and failed. His wolf brushed against the bond, huge and black and alive, cleansed, returned. Still dangerous, but no longer poisoned by the moon goddess's punishment. I touched his chest before I could talk myself out of it. His skin was hot beneath my fingers. You're still healing, I said. I have had worse. Why do men say that like it's attractive? Is it not? No. I paused. Unfortunately, on you, yes. His hand came up and caught my chin, thumb brushing just below my bottom lip. My breath caught. Shanara, he said, softer this time. That did it. Not the growl, not the alpha tone. That softness, like I was something he was terrified to hold too tightly. I leaned in. He met me halfway. The kiss was not gentle. We had done too much bleeding for gentleness. His mouth took mine like he had been starving quietly and hated himself for needing. I kissed him back with every bit of fury and want I had been pretending was under control. His hand slid to my waist and pulled me against him. I ended up half in his lap, my knees pressing into the mattress, his body hard and warm beneath me. The bond flared silver between us, bright enough that I saw it through my closed eyes. Ralph broke the kiss with a rough sound. I chased his mouth. He caught my face between both hands. Wait! I froze. Then irritation arrived like an old friend. If you say something noble right now, I swear I'll throw you out the window. His breathing was uneven. That pleased me more than it should have. You are afraid, he said. I'm also horny. People can multitask. His eyes burned. Not because of him, he said, not because he came into your dream and made you feel cornered. I stared at him. This impossible, ruthless, damaged man. You think fear made me climb onto you? His silence was answer enough. I laughed once, sharp and disbelieving. Ralph, I wanted you when I thought you were an arrogant bastard with murder issues. I wanted you when I wanted to slap you. I wanted you when your communication skills were so shit they needed a funeral. His expression darkened. Shanara. No, listen. The prince can whisper whatever pretty poison he wants. He did not invent this. I press my palm against his chest, right over his heart. You and I made this mess ourselves. For a moment he looked like he might break. Then the floor moved. Not shook. Moved. Like something beneath the house had rolled over in its sleep. Ralph had me off his lap and behind him before I finished breathing. Claws slid from his fingers. His eyes went fully wolf. The fire died. Across the bedroom floor, black flowers bloomed from the wood. One by one they pushed through the cracks between the boards, dark stems, thorned leaves, petals glossy as spilled ink. The smell hit me next. Roses, smoke, cold metal. My stomach dropped. The flowers spread in a circle around the bed. Silver thorns grew from their stems, twisting together, scraping across the floorboards until they formed words. Imani of the first threshold must answer the hollow court. Ralph snarled and lunged. Ralph, wait! Too late. His claws tore through the nearest flowers. They screamed. Not like plants, like people. Black sap splattered across the floor and hissed where it landed. More flowers burst up instantly, faster, thicker, crawling toward the walls. I grabbed his arm. Stop! They're in my house. They're baiting you. They threatened you. And you cannot kill every problem with claws. He looked at me, eyes blazing. Watch me. Ralph. The silver mark on my shoulder burned so hot I staggered. The room split with a sound like glass cracking underwater. Far below us, beneath RedMoon House, beneath stone and wards and all the old buried secrets, the hollow gate opened just enough to breathe. A line of red light cut across the bedroom floor. The flowers bowed toward it. Then his voice filled the room, smooth, cruel, smiling. Come willingly, Shanara. Ralph's growl shook the walls. The prince laughed softly through the crack. Or I will come to collect what was promised. By the time the house woke, RedMoon no longer felt like a home. It felt like a weapon with all its teeth out. Wolves moved through the corridors in silence, barefoot and armed, eyes flashing gold in the dim morning light. The storm had not stopped. Rain battered the windows hard enough to sound like thrown gravel, and thunder rolled over Highgate like something ancient dragging chains across the sky. The black flowers had spread from our bedroom to the main staircase before Isaiah's people burned them back with iron salt and blue flame. They screamed when they died. Maya heard them from the guest wing and came storming downstairs in leggings, one sock and a hoodie that said Nope across the front. Absolutely not, she said, pointing at a thorned flower twitching near the banister. Plants are not allowed to scream. That is where I draw the line. I survived vampire crackheads and a magic basement door, but haunted botanical bullshit. No. Rena, who stood beside her in a silk robe, combat boots, and holding 2 silver knives, gave her an approving look. You're adapting. I am complaining. There is a difference. Ralph said nothing. That was worse. He stood in the entrance hall, black shirt buttoned wrong at the throat, because apparently even near war couldn't stop him from looking obscenely good. His face was carved from pure murder, the kind of cold, controlled fury that made every wolf in the house give him space without being told. His wolf pressed against the bond like a shadow with claws. Mine, it growled. I ignored the way that word slid down my spine, mostly. Isaiah came in from the lower corridor, expression grim. The wards are holding, but the hollow gate cracked again. Not open enough for an army. For one? Ralph asked. Isaiah hesitated. That was answer enough. My stomach tightened. He's coming. Ralph turned to me. He is not touching you. Can we not start the day with impossible promises? His jaw flexed. Shanara. No, I mean it. I stepped closer, lowering my voice even though every wolf in the room could probably hear my heartbeat gossiping. This prince wants you angry. He wants you to charge in claws first, so he can twist some ancient fey law and make you the villain. I am comfortable being the villain. That is not the point. It usually is. I opened my mouth to argue, but the floor beneath us groaned. Everyone froze. The chandelier above the entrance hall flickered. The black flowers along the burned staircase shuddered, then bent at once toward the front doors like worshippers before a god. The wards screamed. A silver line appeared down the center of the double doors. Not a crack. A seam. It widened slowly, slicing through wood and iron, as if the house itself had decided to open its throat. Ralph moved in front of me. I moved beside him. He looked down at me. I looked back. "Don't even," I said. His eyes flashed. "Behind me. Beside you. This is not a debate. Then stop losing." Maya made a small sound behind us. "I know we're all about to die, but that was hot." Isaiah shot her a look. "What?" she whispered. "Trauma has not made me blind." The doors opened. Cold air swept through the hall, carrying the scent of rain, roses, and something sharp enough to taste like blood on the tongue. Prince Caelan Thornvale stepped inside RedMoon House like he owned every shadow it had ever cast. He wore black, not simple black, fey black, living black. His coat looked woven from midnight and thorn smoke, embroidered with silver vines that shifted when he moved. A crown of black thorns rested over his silver hair, each point gleaming with a drop of dark red crystal. His face was unfairly beautiful, sharp and elegant in a way that made my brain immediately suspicious. No man should look that pretty unless he was planning tax fraud or murder. Probably both. Behind him came no army, no guards, no court, just him, which somehow made it worse. The wolves growled as one. Caelan smiled. "My," he said softly, "such warm hospitality." Ralph took one step forward. Isaiah moved fast, catching his arm before claws fully broke through. "Guessed right." The words landed like iron dropped on stone. Ralph did not look at him. "He forced his way into my territory." "He entered through a royal summons tied to the gate," Isaiah said, voice low and urgent. "If you kill him under guest right, the Hollow Court can declare blood war." Ralph's hand curled into a fist. Caelan's eyes flicked to Isaiah. "A clever baiter. How rare." Isaiah's expression did not change. "A living prince, even rarer if you keep talking." Rena coughed to hide a laugh. I would have enjoyed that more if my shoulder had not started burning. Caelan's gaze found me. The hall seemed to shrink. "Imani of the first threshold," he murmured. Ralph snarled. I lifted my chin. "My name is Shanara." Names are layered things. Caelan walked toward me, unhurried, graceful, every step a deliberate insult to the wolves vibrating with the urge to rip him apart. "Shanara Adeyemi Baptiste, RedMoon's reluctant Luna, the girl who bled at the gate and told 2 worlds they could go to hell." Maya whispered, "Okay, rude, but accurate." Caelan stopped in front of me. Too close. Ralph's body went rigid beside mine. Heat rolled off him, dark and dangerous. If anger had a temperature, the whole hall would have gone up in flames. Caelan lowered his gaze to my silver mark. "That was unexpected," he said. "Good. I enjoy being inconvenient." His smile deepened. "You enjoy surviving?" "I've had practice." He reached for my hand. Ralph moved. So did Isaiah. So did half the wolves in the hall. But Caelan was quicker than he looked. His fingers closed around mine, cool and smooth, and before I could yank away, he bowed and pressed his mouth to my knuckles. The silver mark on my shoulder flared. Ralph's growl turned monstrous. The floorboards cracked beneath his boots. Every wolf in the entrance hall dropped lower, caught between obedience and bloodlust. For one mad second, I felt Ralph's wolf slam through the bond like a beast hitting a cage. Kill. Mine. Tear him apart. My own anger snapped awake. I ripped my hand out of Caelan's grip and shoved 2 fingers under his chin, forcing his gaze back to mine. "Touch me again without permission," I said, my voice sweet enough to rot teeth, "and I'll make your royal blood decorate the floor." Silence. Then Caelan laughed, not loudly, not mockingly, like I had delighted him. "How beautifully human of you. How dangerously stupid of you." Ralph's hand came to the small of my back, possessive, warning, trembling with restraint. Kaelin noticed, of course. His eyes gleamed. The wolf has polished his manners. Last time he tried to reject you before he understood your worth. Ralph's claws punched through. I felt the wound of those words open between us, old and ugly. I did not look at Ralph. I kept my eyes on the prince. If your plan is to throw his mistakes in my face, get in line. I already lived them. Kaelin tilted his head. And forgave them? That is my business. Everything about you is court business now. The hall shifted. The rain stopped all at once. No drip, no thunder, no wind, just silence so complete it made my ears ring. Kaelin lifted one hand, and silver thorns grew from the air, twisting into a circle above the marble floor. Within it, I saw a court of black trees, a river shining under no sun, and a throne carved from bone-white roots. The old bargain remains, he said. His voice carried through the house, through the walls, through the damn marrow of the place. Your bloodline was promised to the Hollow Court before the wolf ever scented you. You broke the Queen's immediate claim, yes, a remarkable act, but you did not sever the royal betrothal. My mouth went dry. Maya said very softly, Betrothal? As in marriage bullshit? Kaelin did not even glance at her. 3 trials, 3 nights, witnessed by moon, root, and blood. If Shanara wins, the Hollow Court releases its claim. And if she loses? Ralph asked. Kaelin looked at him then. The smile vanished. If she loses, she comes with me, bride of the Hollow Court, living key, threshold consort. She will open what we command and rule what we allow. Ralph's voice dropped so low it barely sounded human. She belongs to herself. The words went through me like a blade and a balm at once. Kaelin's eyes slid back to me, dark and knowing. How charming, he said. The wolf has learned new words. Ralph lunged. I caught his wrist with both hands and threw every bit of myself down the bond. Stop. He halted so abruptly the air cracked around him. His eyes were no longer human. I stepped in front of him before he could stop me. You want trials? I asked Kaelin. His gaze warmed with victory. I hated him for it. I want what was promised. No, I said. You want me scared, isolated, and doubting everyone around me. You want Ralph Ferrell. You want my bloodline on a leash and my mouth shut. Kaelin smiled again. And what do you want, Shanara? I looked around the hall, at Maya, terrified and furious in one sock, at Isaiah, controlled as a blade, at Rena, holding knives like fashion accessories, at the wolves who had doubted me, tested me, and now stood waiting for my command. At Ralph behind me, breathing like restraint was tearing him open. Then I looked back at the prince. I want breakfast, I said. A shower, a weapon, and then I want to beat your pretty ass in front of your entire court. Maya whispered, That's my girl. Kaelin bowed, but his eyes never left mine. So be it. At dusk, the hollow gate opens for you and your witnesses. His smile turned sharp. Choose carefully. The Fey realm does not only kill the weak. The silver thorns above the floor began to spin. It reveals them. Then he vanished in a storm of black petals. The doors slammed shut, the rain returned, and somewhere beneath RedMoon House, the hollow gate began to sing.
Maya's point of view.
After the Fey Prince vanished in a dramatic cloud of black petals like a toxic Disney audition, RedMoon House turned into organised panic. Wolves moved everywhere. Doors were barred, wards were checked. Weapons came out of places weapons had no business being hidden. I saw one woman pull 2 iron daggers from behind a painting of a countryside field, and honestly, that felt disrespectful to the sheep. Shanara was dragged into strategy with Ralph, Rena, and half the scary people who looked like they could smell fear and unpaid parking tickets. Me? I got Isaiah, which sounded lovely in theory. In practice, it meant the RedMoon Beta appeared in the hallway, wearing black combat gear, carrying a box of blades, and looking at me like I was a security risk with lip gloss. You need training, he said. I looked down at myself. I had finally found my missing sock, so personally, I felt I was already improving. Good morning to you too, sunshine. It is almost noon. Emotionally, it is still morning. His expression did not change. That man's face had government-level encryption. You are entering the Fey realm at dusk, he said. You need to know how to defend yourself. I did not agree to enter anything. I was standing there minding my business when Prince Funeral Flowers announced field trip from hell. You are Shanara's witness. I am Shanara's best friend. That means I hold her earrings, talk her out of texting stupid men, and lie to aunties. It does not usually include magical court proceedings. It does now, I stared at him. So, this is a sexy, supernatural bodyguard trauma camp. A muscle in his jaw moved. That was basically a standing ovation from Isaiah. Come with me, he said. I followed because I was scared, not because his shoulders looked like they were carved by a committee of horny angels. Fear was the main thing, mostly, almost entirely. He led me through the back of the house and into a greenhouse big enough to host a wedding, a murder, or both, which, considering RedMoon, felt on brand. Glass walls curved overhead, fogged by rain. Iron ribs framed the structure, and rows of herbs, moonwhite flowers, and plants with suspiciously toothy leaves lined the tiled floor. I stopped at the entrance. Why are we training in the plant room after evil flowers screamed upstairs? Isaiah set the weapon box on a stone bench. Because the greenhouse is lined with iron, it is one of the safest places on the estate. One of? Yes. Love that. Very comforting. 10 out of 10. No notes. He opened the box. Inside were knives, small blades, iron charms, vials of dark powder, thin cords wrapped in silver thread. My stomach turned over, but my mouth, as usual, decided to work unpaid overtime. If you hand me a sword, I'm warning you now, I have upper body strength for carrying shopping bags and emotional baggage. That is it. He picked up a slim iron blade with a leather-wrapped handle. This is not a sword. Still pointy. Pointy keeps you alive. Therapy also keeps people alive. Nobody here seems interested. His eyes lifted to mine. For a second, something almost soft moved there. Then it was gone. He held the knife out, handle first. Take it. I did. The iron felt warm, which made no sense. It hummed faintly against my palm like it knew I was not qualified. Isaiah stepped behind me. Grip tighter. I am gripping. You are holding it like it might file a complaint. It might. I'm very intimidating. His hand closed over mine and adjusted my fingers around the hilt. My entire nervous system betrayed me. He was warm, solid, too close. His chest hovered behind my shoulder, and his scent wrapped around me, cedar, rain, and something darker that made my thoughts briefly leave the room without permission. Thumb, here, he said. His voice was low beside my ear. Rude, very rude. I cleared my throat. Do all betas provide this level of customer service? Or am I special? You are reckless. That was not the question. It was my answer. He moved in front of me and demonstrated a strike. Clean, fast, control-worded. The blade cut through the air with a whisper. They are not vampires, he said. Do not aim for the heart unless you know what stands in front of you. Iron disrupts their glamour. It burns. It buys you time. Time for what? To run. I made a face. I hate running. Then survive long enough for me to reach you. That did something strange to my chest. I did not like it. Well, I liked it. That was the problem. Isaiah picked up a small bracelet made of black cord and iron beads. Alarm charm. If we are separated, twist the center bead until it snaps. And then what? I come. The silence after that sentence was entirely his fault. I blinked. You cannot say things like that in your serious voice and expect me to be normal. His eyes held mine. I do not expect you to be normal. My mouth opened. Nothing came out. A tragedy. A national emergency. Maya Baptiste adjacent, silenced by a handsome wolf with commitment issues. He stepped closer and fastened the bracelet around my wrist. His fingers brushed my pulse. My heartbeat immediately started acting single. Do you ever smile? I asked, because if I did not speak, I was going to do something stupid like touch his face. Or is that illegal under beta law? I smile when there is a reason. I stepped closer. His gaze dropped to my mouth. My common sense packed a bag. I'm the reason, I said. For 1 second, Isaiah stopped being carved from discipline. His eyes darkened. Not sweetly, not softly, hungrily. Something in the greenhouse shifted with that look. The air warmed. Rain clicked harder against the glass. My breath caught, and I hated myself for wanting him to notice. He did, of course he did. Wolf senses. Bastard. Maya, he said quietly. That was not a warning. It was worse. It sounded like restraint under pressure. I lifted my chin. Yes, Beta. His jaw tightened. Then the greenhouse exploded. Glass shattered overhead. I screamed and ducked as rain and razor-bright shards burst inward. A thick branch crashed through the ceiling, silver-green leaves unfurling like hands. It moved wrong, too fast, too alive, twisting toward us with thorns black as wet ink. Isaiah shoved me behind him. Widow Leaf, he snarled. Of course, it has a widow name. The branch struck. Isaiah sliced through the first vine, but 3 more whipped in through the pome's broken glass, one wrapped around his forearm. Leaves brushed the back of his hand. His whole body locked. Isaiah? His eyes went unfocused, not blank, wounded. The knife slipped slightly in his grip. The widow leaf tightened around his arm and dragged him forward. Oh no, absolutely fucking not. Isaiah, I shouted. He did not answer. His lips parted like he was seeing something that was not there. His expression cracked and fear moved across his face so nakedly, it scared me more than the murder tree. The plant pulled him toward the broken wall of glass, toward more leaves, toward whatever hallucination wanted to eat him alive. My hand shook. For half a second, I saw myself dying in the dumbest way possible, barefoot in a rich werewolf greenhouse, murdered by salad. Then, I remembered the vials. Iron disrupts glamour, burns, buys time. I grabbed the nearest vial from the weapon box and ripped the cork out with my teeth. Hey! I yelled at the branch. Compost Kardashian! The vine snapped toward me. I threw the iron filings. The powder hit the leaves in a glittering black cloud. The widow leaf screamed. The sound ripped through the greenhouse, high and human and awful. The vine around Isaiah loosened. He blinked once. Not enough. More branches poured through the roof. I looked around wildly and spotted a red fire extinguisher mounted near the door. Beautiful, practical, my new best friend. I ran for it. A vine lashed around my ankle. I hit the floor hard enough to knock the breath out of me. Pain burst through my hip. Nope, I wheezed. No, you do not get to drag me. I am not emotionally available for kidnapping. I twisted, slashed badly with the iron knife, missed, cursed, then stabbed again. This time, the blade sank into the vine. The plant shrieked and released me. I scrambled up, grabbed the extinguisher, and yanked the pin like I had been born for health and safety violence. Isaiah was on one knee now, fighting to move, the widow leaf crawling toward his throat. I charged. Get off him, you botanical bitch! I blasted the fire extinguisher straight into the leaves. White foam exploded over the widow leaf, mixing with iron dust on Isaiah's sleeve. The reaction was instant. The branches smoked, curled, and thrashed away from him, smashing pots and benches as they recoiled. Isaiah sucked in a breath like he had been underwater. His eyes snapped back to gold. He rose with terrifying speed. The rest happened fast. Too fast. Claws, iron blade, wolf fury wearing a man's body. Isaiah tore through the remaining branches and drove his knife into the thickest part of the widow leaf where it had forced itself through the roof. The greenhouse shook. The plant screamed again, then ripped backward into the storm, leaving broken glass, black sap, and a silence that rang in my ears. I stood there, holding the extinguisher with both hands. Foam dripped from the nozzle. My chest heaved. Isaiah turned to me. There was blood on his hand, black sap on his shirt. His eyes were still wolf bright. "You were supposed to run," he said. I laughed, but it came out shaky. "You are so welcome." He crossed the space between us in 2 strides. His hands closed around my arms, careful but urgent, checking me for injuries. "Did it touch your skin?" "My ankle, briefly. I'm fine." "Maya?" "I said I'm fine." His gaze dropped to my leg. The vine had torn my leggings, leaving a thin red welt around my ankle. His expression went lethal. I swallowed. "Please do not growl at my ankle. It has been through enough." He looked back at me, and for once there was no distance in his face. No beta wall, no polished control. Just him. Scared. Because of me. "You saved me," he said. I tried to smile. "Yes, I expect a certificate." His thumb brushed my arm once, almost absent. "You should not have had to. And you should not have decided to hallucinate during training. We all made choices." His mouth twitched, actually twitched. I pointed at him immediately. Was that a smile? Did I just witness illegal beta activity? Before he could answer, the alarm bells outside the greenhouse began to ring. Deep, violent, repeating. Isaiah's softness vanished. He turned toward the house. Through the broken glass and rain, RedMoon's lower windows glowed red. The hollow gate was calling. Isaiah looked back at me, his eyes dark with everything we had not said. "New rule," he said. I tightened my grip on the iron knife. "If the rule is run, I'm ignoring it." His gaze dropped to the blade in my hand, then back to my face. "No," he said. "Stay close to me." The bells rang again, and this time I did not make a joke.
The hollow gate sang like it knew my name and had been waiting centuries to spit it back at me. By dusk, RedMoon House had stopped pretending this was a rescue mission and started preparing like it was a funeral with weapons. Wolves lined the lower corridors in black, iron, and silver. Nobody joked, nobody whispered. Even Maya had gone quiet, which scared me more than the Fey Prince, because Maya quiet meant the world had truly fucked up. The gate waited beneath the house. Red light pulsed through the cracked arch, painting the stone walls like fresh blood. The last time I stood there, I had cut my palm open, told a queen and a curse to kiss my arse, and somehow ended up with a silver mark, a wolf bond, and a Fey Prince trying to repossess me like ancestral property. Honestly, my 20s had not prepared me. Ralph stood beside me, all black clothes, hard jaw, and barely leashed violence. His wolf pressed against my senses through the bond, pacing. Not poisoned anymore, not broken, but furious. His hand brushed the small of my back. "You stay close," he said. I looked up at him. "If you say that one more time, I'm going to start charging rent for the space under your protection complex." His eyes lowered to mine. "You are walking into his court. I know. He wants you. He wants my blood, my name, and my magical door-opening bullshit. The man has a shopping list." Ralph's mouth tightened. "He wants more than that." There it was. Jealousy. Dark. Honest. Ugly enough to make the bond burn hot. I should not have liked it. I did. Not because I wanted Ralph hurting, but because Ralph Blackwood jealous was dangerous in a way my body had no moral defense against. Before I could say something wildly inappropriate, Maya appeared at my other side, iron knife strapped to her thigh, alarm charm on her wrist, and an expression set like she was about to fight God over bad customer service. "I would like to state for legal reasons that I hate this," she said. Rena adjusted the silver pins in her hair. "Noted. If I die, I want Beyoncé played at my funeral." Isaiah, standing behind her, said, "You are not dying." Maya glanced over her shoulder. That sounded almost comforting. It was an order. See, that's where you ruin things. 3 RedMoon guards came with us, Niall, Petra and Thomas, all armed, all tense, all pretending they were not terrified of walking into the realm that ate names, memories and common sense. The gate widened. Cold air breathed out. Not wind, breath. The red crack split open into an arch of black stone and silver roots. Beyond it I saw a path made of obsidian, slick as wet glass, curving into a forest lit by no sun. The mark on my shoulder flared. Kaylin's voice slid through the opening. "Come home, Imani," Ralph snarled. I stepped forward before he could answer with murder. "This is not home," I said. The gate laughed. Then it swallowed us. Crossing felt like being turned inside out politely. 1 second, damp stone pressed around us. Next, we stood under a violet-black sky, surrounded by trees so tall their branches disappeared into mist. The air smelled of roses, iron rain, and sugar left too long over flame. The Fey realm was beautiful. That was the first cruelty. Everything glittered, everything breathed. Trees bled gold sap down silver bark. Flowers opened their velvet mouths and whispered in languages that made my teeth ache. A river curved in the distance, glowing like poured starlight, its surface too smooth to be natural. Maya grabbed my sleeve. "Shan." "I see it." "No, babe, I need you to see it with judgment, because this place is gorgeous and I do not trust gorgeous. Good instinct." A red flower near her boot whispered, "Pretty human, soft bones." Maya jumped back. "The plant just sexually harassed my skeleton." Rena sighed. "Do not answer the flowers." I wasn't planning to exchange numbers. Ralph moved closer to me, scanning every shadow. Isaiah did the same near Maya, his body angled toward her without making it obvious. Except it was obvious. To me, to Rena, probably to the trees. Maya noticed too, judging by the way she kept pretending not to notice. A horn sounded in the distance. Low, sweet, wrong. The forest parted, not metaphorically. The trees physically bent away from the path, their roots dragging through the soil like retreating fingers. At the end of the obsidian road stood the hollow court. It was not a castle, it was worse. A palace grown from black thorns and bone-white roots curled around a hill of dark glass. Towers twisted upward like antlers. Balconies bloomed with red orchids that dripped nectar into silver bowls. Faye watched us from every archway, every branch, every shadow. Beautiful faces. Cruel eyes. Some had horns. Some had wings folded like knives. Some wore gowns made of smoke, moss, feathers, or skin I refused to identify. They stared at me like I was dinner, royalty, or both. Then, Prince Kaelan Thornvale descended the palace steps. Of course, he did not simply walk. The steps flowered beneath his boots. Black roses opened wherever he stepped, their petals glittering with silver dust. His hair fell loose over his shoulders, bright as moonlight against his dark coat. The black thorn crown rested on his head, elegant and vicious. He looked like temptation had hired a stylist. "Imani of the first threshold," he said. The court bowed. Every Fae lowered themselves. To me. My stomach twisted. Ralph went utterly still beside me. Kaelin's gaze flicked to him. "Wolf." "Prince," Ralph said, making the title sound like an insult dragged through broken glass. Kaelin smiled, then returned his attention to me. "You have brought witnesses. Loyal, armed, predictable. You invited a trial," I said. "I brought people who would tell the truth when I win." "When?" he repeated, amused. Your confidence is charming. My confidence has survived vampires, alpha politics, one possessed gate, and Ralph before breakfast. You're not special. A few Fae hissed. Kaelin laughed softly. There she is. He lifted one hand. 2 Fae women stepped forward carrying a gown between them. For half a second I forgot to be suspicious. The dress looked like it had been woven from moonlight and smoke. Silver thread shifted across black fabric, forming tiny moving constellations. The sleeves were sheer, the bodice shaped like armor, and the skirt flowed like water in darkness. It was stunning. I hated that I wanted to touch it. Kaelin took the gown from them and approached me. Ralph's growl started low, vibrating through the ground. A court garment, Kaelin said. Moon thread. It will protect your skin from poison leaves, thorn spite, and lesser glamour. Ralph's voice cut through the air. Do not accept gifts from Fae. I looked at the gown, then at Kaelin, then at Ralph. That familiar irritation sparked in my chest. Not because Ralph was wrong. He probably was not. That was the annoying part. But his warning landed like a command, and my entire soul had a documented history of allergic reactions to those. Kaelin saw it. His eyes warmed. The wolf warns you because he fears what you might become without him. The words slipped under my ribs. Ralph's hand flexed at his side. I kept my face steady, but the hit landed. Because that was the thing about Kaelin. He did not throw lies first. He threw almost truths, sharpened until they drew blood. RedMoon called me Luna, but did they obey me? Ralph called me mate, but did he trust me to stand without him? The court watched, waiting. I stepped toward the gown and ran my fingers just above the fabric without touching it. It shimmered like it was breathing. Then I smiled. No. Kaelin tilted his head. No. No, thank you, your royal red flag. Maya choked behind me. I turned slightly, showing the silver mark glowing beneath my own clothes. I claimed myself in blood at the gate. I did not do all that dramatic shit to come here and let a dress claim me because it sparkles nicely. The gown twitched. The Fae holding it frowned. Kaelin's smile thinned, but admiration flashed through his eyes. You would rather bleed? I would rather choose my own armor. Ralph's pride moved through the bond, hot and fierce. Kaelin noticed that too. He stepped closer, just close enough to make Ralph's wolf slam against my senses. You mistake my gifts for cages, he said softly. I lowered my voice. And you mistake pretty cages for gifts. Something behind him rang. A bell made from bone, maybe. The sound rolled across the court. The Fae straightened. The trees leaned in. Kaelin turned, lifting his arms. The first threshold trial begins. The obsidian road split down the center. Beyond it, the forest awakened. Vines uncoiled from branches. Flowers opened wet, hungry mouths. Thorn bushes shivered and whispered with voices that sounded almost human. The silver-green leaves of distant widow leaf trees flashed under the violet sky. Kaelin looked back at me. To win, cross the living forest before the third bell. Stay on the path if you can find it. Leave the path, and the realm may keep whatever piece of you it likes best. Lovely, Maya muttered. A murder maze. Kaelin's dark eyes held mine. The forest feeds on fear, jealousy, and desire. How fortunate you brought so much of all three. Ralph bared his teeth. I lifted my chin, even as the first thorn vine slid across the path toward my boot. Somewhere inside the forest, Maya's voice screamed my name. Except Maya stood right behind me. Her fingers dug into my arm. Shan, she whispered, voice shaking. That wasn't me. The bell rang once, and the trees began to whisper.
Isaiah's point of view.
Fear had a voice in the hollow court. It used Maya's. The whispering briars crowded the path on both sides, their black thorns hooked like claws, their vines dragging over the obsidian ground with soft, patient sounds. Every few steps, something called from the trees. Isaiah! Maya's voice. Broken, crying. My wolf lunged beneath my skin. I did not turn. Beside me, the real Maya walked with an iron blade gripped too tightly in her hand, jaw set, eyes bright with terror she refused to admit. She had made 3 jokes since we entered the forest. That was how I knew she was frightened. "If one more bush screams like me," she muttered, "I'm filing a supernatural noise complaint." "Stay close," I said. She glanced at me. "That your favorite sentence?" "When you listen, I will find a new one." "Could be a while then." Ahead, Ralph moved like violence given bones. One arm always near Shanara without touching unless she let him. The Briars knew him too. They used Shanara's voice until his claws came out. Until the silver mark at her shoulder flared and she snapped. "I'm right here, you hard-headed wolf." He stopped. Barely. Rena walked behind them, scattering iron salt whenever the path tried to change. Niall, Petra, and Thomas guarded the rear. But even trained wolves flinched when the forest whispered in the voices of dead mothers and lost mates. The first bell still hummed through the trees. We had until the third to cross. Then the forest opened. The lake lay ahead like a sheet of liquid silver poured into a black bowl. No ripples, no insects, no reflection of the sky. Only us, warped and waiting on the surface. Mirror water. Rena swore under her breath. "Nobody touches it." Maya looked at the lake. "Why? Apart from the obvious creepy murder pond energy?" "It steals memories," I said. "A touch takes what it can. A mouthful takes the person you love most." Maya's fingers tightened around her knife. "That is very specific and very fucked up." Fey magic usually was. A narrow trail of black stones crossed the lake, each one just wide enough for a careful foot. On the far shore, the forest continued, darker and breathing. Shanara stared at the water. "Of course the path goes across it." Ralph's voice was flat. "We go one at a time." "No," Rena said. "Pairs. The lake likes isolation." Maya made a small laugh. "Great, even the water is toxic." I stepped beside her before anyone could assign places. "You cross with me." She looked up at me, and for 1 second, her mouth softened. Then the mask returned. "Bossy?" "Yes." "Rude?" "Also yes." We stepped onto the first stone. The moment my boot touched it, the lake changed. Its surface brightened beneath us, showing not our faces, but lives. Maya stopped. "Maya," I warned. She did not answer. In the water below her, London glowed in warm evening light. A normal street, a normal flat above a shop. Music spilled from an open window. I saw Maya inside, laughing in a yellow dress, her curls loose around her shoulders, a glass of wine in one hand. Shanara danced beside her with no silver mark, no scars from fey bargains, no wolf shadow attached to her heart. No vampires, no missing children, no blood, no me. Maya's breath caught. That was my life. The lake whispered without sound. It showed her safety, loud friends, bad dates, Sunday markets, a bed that did not require knives beneath the pillow, a world where monsters stayed in films where they belonged. Her foot shifted toward the edge of the stone. I caught her wrist. "Look at me." She blinked slowly, still staring down. "She's happy." "That is not you." "It could have been." The words hit harder than I expected, because beneath my own stone, the mirror water had begun its work. I saw RedMoon years from now. Strong walls, secure borders, Ralph alive, Shanara beside him, the pack kneeling to a Luna who had made them earn her. I stood at Ralph's right hand, exactly where duty placed me. Older, controlled, alone, no laughter in my room. No reckless human voice accusing me of illegal beta behavior. No woman looking at me like I was both a problem and prize. Just loyalty, just silence. The water showed me the life I had always believed honor demanded. And it was empty. Maya leaned forward. Maya. Her eyes shone, fixed on the impossible life beneath us. I could go back. No. The word came out sharper than I intended. She flinched, and I hated myself for it. The water took advantage. Silver tendrils rose without a ripple and wrapped around her ankle. She gasped. I lunged, but the lake yanked. Maya fell. Her knife clattered across the stone as she hit the surface and vanished beneath it. My wolf roared. Behind me, someone shouted. Ralph, maybe. Shanara screamed Maya's name. The briars surged at the shoreline, blocking the others with a wall of thorns. I did not think. I jumped. Mirror water was colder than death. It closed over my head and went straight for my mind. Memories tore loose around me like pages in a storm. Ralph at 15, bloody-knuckled and silent after his stepfather's cruelty. My first oath to RedMoon. My mother's hand pressing iron into my palm. Maya in the greenhouse, holding a fire extinguisher like a weapon from God. I held on. The lake pulled harder. It searched for weakness. And when it found Maya, it became vicious. Not her name, not her face. My fear. The reason I kept distance. A memory surfaced. Me standing over a human woman years ago after a wolf from another pack had loved her too possessively, protected her too violently, dragged her into danger until she broke beneath the weight of his world. I remembered thinking, never. Never put human skin between wolf teeth and war. Never want what you could ruin. The lake took that memory in one clean bite. The rule vanished. The wall inside me cracked, and suddenly I did not know why I had ever denied myself the truth. Maya was below me, suspended in silver, eyes open, reaching toward a door made of warm London light. I seized her hand. Her gaze snapped to mine. For one terrible second, she hesitated. Then she kicked away from the door and reached for me with both hands. She chose. I dragged her upward. We broke the surface hard. Air ripped into my lungs. Maya coughed, choking, clinging to my shoulders as I hauled her toward the stones. Rena threw an iron chain across the water, and I caught it with one hand, Maya locked against my chest with the other. The lake tried to keep us. It whispered with my voice. Let her go. She lives longer without you. I snarled and pulled. Iron burned through my palm, but the pain anchored me. Ralph cut through the briars at the shore, Shanara beside him with her silver mark blazing. And together they dragged us onto black earth. Maya rolled onto her side, coughing up silver water. I was over her instantly. Look at me, I said. She groaned. You need new material. Maya. Her eyes focused on mine. She remembered me. The breath I released shook. She pushed herself up on one elbow. Water ran down her brown skin, over her throat, into the torn collar of her shirt. She was alive, furious, beautiful enough to make my control feel like a bad joke. You jumped into the memory theft lake, she rasped. Yes. For me. Yes. That was either heroic or stupid as fuck. Both. Her mouth trembled, then curved. Good. I like range. Something was missing inside me. I knew it should have been there, the restraint, the reason, the old warning carved deep, but I could not feel it. All I felt was her pulse under my fingers and the savage certainty that if the realm tried to take her again, I would drown it. Maya touched my jaw. I went still. Isaiah, she said softly. That was all. I kissed her. Not carefully, not like a man with rules. I kissed her like the lake had shown me an empty life, and I had rejected it with my whole damn body. Maya made a broken sound against my mouth and grabbed the front of my wet shirt, pulling me closer instead of pushing me away. My wolf surged, not claiming, not yet, but recognizing. Her fingers slid into my hair, my hand locked at her waist. She was warm despite the water, shaking and alive. I wanted with a violence that should have frightened me. It did not. The second bell rang. The sound split the forest. I tore my mouth from hers, breathing hard. Maya stared at me like she wanted to slap me or drag me back down, maybe both. "You better remember this when your brooding comes back," she whispered. I pressed my forehead to hers for one stolen second. "I never forgot wanting you." Her breath caught. Then the stones across Mirror Water began to sink, one by one, and the forest on the far shore opened its thorned mouth wider.
Maya's point of view.
By the time the third bell rang, I had decided the Fey Realm was a luxury death trap designed by rich psychopaths with gardening trauma. We made it out of the living forest, but only just. Ralph had torn through the last wood of briars with claws and rage. Shanara's silver mark had lit the path like a supernatural torch. Rena had dragged Niall away from a flower, trying to whisper his dead mother's voice into his ear. Isaiah had kept one hand on me the entire time after Mirror Water, like, if he blinked too long, I would vanish. I should have told him I was fine. I was not fine. I was wet, cold, hungry, horny, traumatized, and still thinking about the way he had kissed me like restraint had finally lost the argument. The hollow court waited beyond the forest, seated beneath black trees dripping gold sap into silver bowls. Fey nobles watched us from thorn-carved balconies, their beautiful faces arranged in disappointment, as if they had paid good money to see us die. Prince Caelan Thornvale sat on a dark throne grown from roots and bone-white branches, his silver hair loose over one shoulder, his black flower crown gleaming like a threat with accessories. He clapped once, softly, mockingly. "The first threshold is crossed," he said. The court murmured. Shanara stood in front of him with torn sleeves, blood on her arm, and her chin lifted like she was considering whether royal murder counted as personal growth. "You sound upset," she said. Caelan smiled. "I am delighted. Your face forgot to tell the rest of you." A few Fey hissed. "I loved her so much, it hurt." Caelan's gaze moved over Ralph, then settled back on Shanara. "You have earned rest before the next moonrise. Food and drink have been prepared for your companions." Ralph immediately said, "No." I groaned. "Oh, come on." "No one eats Fey food," he said. "Respectfully, Alpha Growl, I have been chased by murder shrubbery, almost drowned in memory soup, and screamed at by my own voice from a bush. If I do not eat something soon, I will become the danger." Isaiah's hand tightened lightly at my elbow. "Maya." I looked up at him. "Do not Maya me in that voice." "What voice?" "The voice that makes bad ideas feel supervised." His eyes flicked to my mouth. My stomach flipped like an idiot. Across the court, servants appeared with a long black table covered in fruit, bread, roasted meats, crystal cups, and little pastries shaped like flowers. It was all too perfect, too glossy, too fragrant. And yet, there was a bowl of grapes near the edge, black purple, dusted with silver, plump enough to look illegal. My stomach made a sound that betrayed the entire human race. Shanara grabbed my wrist. "Don't eat random Fey fruit." I stared at the grapes. "Girl, I have been chased by vampire crackheads, tree demons, and a prince with cheekbones sharp enough to file taxes. Let me have one damn grape. Maya. One. Maya. I popped it into my mouth. The grape burst against my tongue like honey, wine, smoke, and bad decisions. Heat bloomed down my throat so fast I grabbed the table. "Oh," I said. Shanara narrowed her eyes. "Oh, what?" I swallowed. "That grape just flirted with my soul." "Maya, what? It was delicious." Then Shanara, who had apparently lost all moral authority because she was starving too, snatched one from the bowl. "Don't judge me," she muttered and ate it. Rena turned at the exact wrong second. Her smile died. "What?" I said slowly. Rena stared at the bowl. "Everbloom grapes." Isaiah went completely still beside me. Ralph's head snapped toward Shanara. The court went silent. Kaelin leaned back on his throne with the satisfied expression of a man who had just watched a trap close. Shanara blinked. "Why is everyone looking like we ate a baby?" Rena whispered. "Bride fruit." I coughed. "Excuse me?" The heat in my body spread. Not sick heat, not fever. Worse, good heat, dangerous heat. It rolled through my stomach, down between my thighs, up into my chest, loosening my tongue and making my skin feel too tight for my own thoughts. The cold from mirror water disappeared. My wet clothes became unbearable. Isaiah's hand on my elbow felt like a brand. I turned slowly and looked at him. Big mistake. His black shirt clung to him from the lake, outlining every disciplined inch of muscle. His jaw was locked. His eyes had gone wolf gold at the edges. He was holding himself so still it looked painful. My mouth opened. My common sense had left the realm. "Beta," I said. His nostrils flared. "Maya, listen to me. I have been respectful. I have been patient. I have been almost holy." I pointed at his trousers. "But those trousers are lying to God and everyone in this room." Behind me, Rena made a strangled sound. Isaiah closed his eyes for half a second. Fuck. "Oh, good," I said. "You do know that word?" "Maya." There it is again. I stepped closer. "Your face is rude, your shoulders are worse, and your dick." His hand covered my mouth, gently, fast. Desperate. My eyes widened. His did too, like he had shocked himself. He removed his hand slowly. "Do not finish that sentence in a Fae court." I smiled. "Why? Will it start a war?" "With me, yes." Well, that did nothing helpful to my condition. Across the room, Shanara had turned toward Ralph like he was the only meal that mattered. Her silver mark glowed through the torn fabric at her shoulder. Ralph stood in front of her, breathing hard, fists clenched at his sides like touching her would break every law he had left. Shanara frowned at him. "Why are you all the way over there?" "Because you ate Fae fertility fruit. And now I am fertile with opinions. Take off the shirt." Maya's brain, under ordinary circumstances, would have applauded. Fruit Maya did applaud, loudly. "Yes, babe, demand justice." Ralph's eyes cut to me. "Maya, do not growl at me, because your mate has taste." Shanara reached for Ralph's belt. He caught both of her wrists before she touched him. The sound that left his throat was not fully human. The court watched with hungry interest. Kaelin rose. "Beautiful," he murmured. "The fruit reveals what decorum buries." Ralph did not look away from Shanara. "You planned this?" Kaelin stepped down from his throne. "I offered hospitality." A cluster of red flowers near his feet bloomed open and dripped thick nectar onto the floor. "Blood orchids." Rena's smile sharpened. "Liar." Kaelin glanced down at the flowers, then laughed softly. "I arranged temptation. There is a difference." He came closer to Shanara, voice dropping into silk. "Allow me to help you, Amani. Fae blood responds best to Fae hands." Ralph's growl shook the table. Shanara turned her head toward Kaelin, sniffed once, then made a face. "You smell like expensive funeral flowers," she said. "Move." I slapped a hand over my heart. That was poetry. Kaelin's smile did not disappear, but something cold passed through his eyes. Good. I hoped it was an embarrassment. Isaiah moved in front of me before I could wander any closer to him, which was rude because wandering closer to him had become my entire purpose in life. "You need to breathe," he said. "I am breathing. You are plotting. I am admiring. You are under magic." "The magic did not invent my eyes, Isaiah." My voice lowered without permission. "Or my memory. I remember you kissing me by that lake." His control cracked for 1 second. Just one. But I saw it. The hunger, the want, the wolf pushing against the man. Then he locked it down again. "I will not touch you because a fruit told your body to burn," he said. My chest squeezed, which was unfair because I was trying to be filthy, not emotional. "The fruit did not create the want," I said. "It just gave it a microphone." Shanara pointed at me while still trapped in Ralph's grip. "Exactly." Ralph looked like he was suffering through divine punishment. "Shanara, no, don't Shanara me. I wanted you before the grape. I wanted you while angry. I wanted you while plotting ways to make you apologize properly. The grape just removed customer service from my mouth." Rena was laughing now, one hand pressed to her stomach, absolutely useless. "I hate all of you," Ralph said. "No, you don't," Shanara said, leaning closer. "You especially don't hate me." His hands flexed around her wrists. "Never." That one word dropped into the room like a confession with teeth. Even the fruit heat in my blood paused for it. Kaelin noticed too. Of course he did. The bastard noticed everything. "How noble," he said. "The wolves deny desire and call it protection." Ralph finally looked at him. "We protect choice." Kaelin's eyes slid to Shanara. "Or delay it until it behaves." Shanara's expression changed. For a second, the words hit exactly where he aimed them. I saw it. The old wound. The memory of Ralph rejecting her, deciding for her, dragging her into his world while pretending it was only duty. Then Shanara's gaze hardened. "Do not use feminist language while trying to fail or kidnap me," she snapped. I pointed at her. That is why she is my person." The grapes in the bowl pulsed silver. My own heat sharpened. Not just desire now. Something tugged under my ribs, pulling me toward Isaiah's magic, toward the steady, wolf-dark strength of him. I swayed. Isaiah caught me immediately. His arm wrapped around my waist, firm and careful, holding me against him without letting his hands wander. Every nerve in my body lit up. "Oh, this is rude," I whispered. His voice was rough. "I know." "No, you do not. You are standing there like horny security, and I'm expected to survive it." His mouth twitched, but his eyes stayed worried. Rena stopped laughing. "What is it?" I asked. She stared at the grapes. "The heat is moving too fast." Kaelin smiled. Ralph pulled Shanara behind him, but she stumbled, one hand pressing to her silver mark. Thin lines of light branched from beneath her fingers, crawling down her arm like roots. "What did you do?" Ralph snarled. Kaelin's voice softened to something almost tender. "If the heat is not cooled by dawn, Everbloom binds desire to the nearest powerful magic." My stomach dropped. Shanara looked at him. "Meaning what?" "Meaning your body may reach for what your blood was promised." Kaelin's gaze lowered to her glowing mark. "A silver bond is strong, Amani, but the hollow claim is older, deeper, hungry." Ralph's claws slid out. Isaiah tightened his hold on me. The court leaned in. Kaelin smiled like dawn was already bleeding toward us. "Run, wolves," he said, "before her desire chooses a crown."
Kaylin told us to run. I did not run. I took Shanara into my arms and carried her out of the hollow court before my wolf broke through my skin and turned guest right into war. She fought me immediately. Of course she did. Put me down, Ralph Blackwood. No. You overgrown possessive bastard. I have legs. You also ate fey fertility fruit. And suddenly everyone wants to make that my whole personality. Her body burned against mine. Not with fever, with magic, with desire sharpened into something dangerous. Her silver mark glowed beneath the torn fabric at her shoulder, bright threads crawling down her arm like roots searching for soil. Behind us, Isaiah lifted Maya when her knees weakened. Maya pointed weakly at him and muttered, "Do not think carrying me makes you less rude." Isaiah's face looked carved from restraint. I would never. Rena hurried ahead, scattering iron salt across the black stone corridor as the court watched us leave. Fey nobles smiled from balconies of thorn and bone, their eyes hungry for humiliation, lust, or blood. They did not care which one came first. Kaylin's voice followed us, soft as poison. The fruit does not lie, wolf. It only reveals where hunger already lives. My claws cut through my palms. Shanara looked over my shoulder and shouted, "Your grapes taste like manipulation and old perfume." Maya lifted one finger. "And sexual sabotage." Rena almost tripped. "Both of you stop talking." "I cannot," Shanara said. "My mouth has been liberated." I carried her faster. The corridor opened into a moonlit grotto below the court. Black stone curved overhead. Silver moss clung to the walls, lighting the space with a cold glow. At the center stood a basin carved from ironwood, filled with still water that reflected nothing. Mirror water. My wolf recoiled. Rena grabbed a small pouch from her belt. Iron salt, cold mirror water, chosen anchor, that is the antidote. I looked at the water. Mirror water steals memories. Not if bound with iron and not swallowed. She poured salt into the basin. The surface hissed. It cools the everbloom heat and cuts the binding before dawn. Shanara shifted in my arms, her breath catching. Binding to what? Rena's expression hardened. The nearest powerful magic. The mark on Shanara's shoulder pulsed. I understood. The hollow claim, Kaylin's royal blood, the cracked gate. My wolf slammed against my ribs. "I will kill him," I said. "No," Rena snapped. "You will keep her anchored, because if you tear through the court right now, Kaylin wins twice." Shanara pushed at my chest. "I hate when she's right." Rena looked at her. "You must choose your anchor clearly. No riddles, no pride." Shanara's eyes lifted to mine. The heat in them nearly ruined me. "I choose Ralph," she said. "Unfortunately." Rena blinked. Maya, slumped against Isaiah near the entrance, whispered, "Romance." Shanara pointed at me. "Do not look smug. I'm still angry." "I know. I choose him because I want him. Not because of the fruit, not because of the bond. Not because some dead ancestor signed paperwork with a bunch of sparkly kidnappers." Her voice shook, but her gaze stayed steady. Him. My chest tightened around something too raw to name. Rena nodded once. "Then cool the heat. Keep her conscious. Keep her choosing. If the fruit controls the act, the court can twist it. If she chooses through it and beyond it, they cannot." I looked at her. "Leave us." Maya made a sound. "Oh, now he believes in privacy." Isaiah carried her toward another passage before she could say worse. Rena followed, but paused at the arch. "Ralph," she said quietly, "do not let jealousy make you stupid." I almost laughed. Too late. Then we were alone. Shanara stared at me from my arms, skin warm, eyes too bright, mouth parted on uneven breaths. You're doing that thing, she said. What thing? Looking like you want to fuck me and bury a body at the same time. I do. Her smile flashed, wicked and shaking. Multitasking alpha. I set her on the edge of the ironwood basin. The moment my hands left her, she reached for me. I caught her wrists, her pulse hammered beneath my fingers. Not yet, she glared. If you say noble shit, I will scream. You need the antidote. I need several things. The antidote is on the list, not at the top. Shanara, do not use my name like a leash. The words struck. I released her wrists instantly. Regret cut through the lust haze in the room, through the fruit magic, through my own possessive fury. She saw it and cursed softly. That was not me telling you to let go, she said. You said leash. Because I am angry. Because I am hot. Because I am scared. Because that bastard keeps aiming at every bruise you left and acting like he invented my freedom. I stood still. Her chest rose and fell. The silver mark flickered. I rejected you, I said. Her jaw tightened. Yes. I hurt you. Yes. I tried to decide what was best for you. Yes, Ralph, and I refused to accept it. Catch up. My wolf went quiet. She leaned closer, eyes locked on mine. I wanted you before the fruit. I wanted you when I was angry. I wanted you when I hated how much I wanted you. So stop acting like desire only counts when it arrives politely. The words went straight through me. I dipped my hand into the iron-salted mirror water. It burned like frozen silver. When I touched the liquid to her shoulder, Shanara hissed and gripped the basin hard enough to make the wood groan. The silver roots under her skin flared. Black threads writhed beneath them, thin and ugly. Kalen's magic. A growl tore from me. Shanara grabbed my wrist. Stay with me. I am. No, not with your murder thoughts, with me. I forced my wolf back. I pressed more water to her mark. The black threads smoked. Shanara trembled, but her eyes cleared little by little. The feverish shine softened into something sharper. Herself, still wanting, still furious, still Shanara. I cupped her face. If we stop here, I will hold you until dawn, I said. If you want space, I will leave guards at the door and not touch you. If you want me to take the heat out with cold water and nothing else, that is what happens. Her gaze searched mine. And if I want you? My control splintered. Then you say it without the fruit speaking for you. She slid off the basin and stood between my legs. The cold water dripped down her shoulder, over the glowing silver mark, into the torn neckline of her dress. My name is Shanara Imani Adiemi Baptiste, she said. Human, fey-blooded, RedMoon's chosen Luna, no one's property. Her hand pressed over my heart. And I want you. Your hands, your mouth, your body, the temper, the damage, the whole difficult fucking man. I could barely breathe. If you say stop, I said, voice rough, I stop. Always. Always. Then stop talking. I kissed her. The bond opened like a wound and a home at once. She came against me hard, fingers tearing into my shirt, mouth hungry beneath mine. I lifted her onto the basin edge and stepped between her thighs, kissing her until her taste drowned out the court, the prince, the gate, every law trying to write her into someone else's possession. Every movement was a question. Every answer she gave was a demand. Her hands dragged my shirt up, nails scraping over my stomach. Off. I obeyed. Her eyes darkened. See? Growth. A laugh broke from me, low and helpless, then died when her palm slid over my chest. The touch burned hotter than Everbloom, older than magic, chosen. I undid the ruined fastenings of her dress slowly, watching her face for hesitation. There was none. Only impatience. Ralph, I need to see you choosing. I am choosing loudly. You choose like a threat. You like it. I fucking love it. The confession snapped something between us. She pulled me down, and I stopped being gentle, in the way fear had made me gentle. I was careful, yes. Controlled enough not to hurt her, but I did not hide the hunger. I let her feel what she did to me. Let her hear it in every broken sound I made against her mouth, her throat, her skin. When I finally took her, it was not the fruit that held us. It was her legs locked around me, her voice in my ear, her nails in my back, her saying my name like commandment and curse. The silver mark blazed. Our bond deepened so violently, I lost the shape of the room. I felt her, not just her body beneath mine, but her fear, her fury, her stubborn, blazing will. I felt the girl who had walked into my life as a human and refused every cage monsters built around her. I felt my wolf bow to her, not in surrender but recognition. Mine, he growled. No, hers, I corrected. Chosen. The mark flared brighter. Then something cold touched the edge of the bond. Not a hand, a thorn. I froze. Shanara's breath caught. Ralph? Kaylin's presence pressed through the silver roots, elegant and invasive, tracing the old claim where it still reached into the hollow gate. His whisper slid through the room. Beautiful. The wolf finally understands worship. My vision went red. I covered Shanara's mark with my hand and shoved every ounce of wolf, alpha, and bond into the breach. Get out. Kaylin laughed softly. She is a threshold. You may love the door, wolf. You cannot own where it opens. Shanara sat up, rage clearing the last of the heat from her face. Did he feel us? The question almost broke my sanity. I pulled her into my arms, shielding her body with mine, though I knew this was not a threat claws could stop. He felt the bond open, I said. Not everything, but enough. Her hand pressed over mine on her mark. The silver light pulsed around our joined fingers. He's not trying to seduce me, she whispered. No. The distant court horn sounded once, long and low. The second moon was rising. Shanara looked toward the archway, eyes bright with fury. He's trying to learn how to get inside us. My wolf snarled into the dark, and beneath my palm, the silver roots of her mark stretched deeper toward the hollow gate.
Maya's point of view.
I woke up wishing the Fey realm had the decency to provide a hole for me to crawl into, preferably deep, preferably soundproof. My mouth tasted like sugared lightning, iron salt, and regret. My whole body ached in strange places, not from anything fun, but from being dragged through a murder forest, drowned by a memory lake, and poisoned by one tiny slutty grape. Never trust fruit that sparkled. I opened my eyes to a room grown out of black roots and moonlit stone. Silver moss glowed along the walls. A narrow bed sat beneath a canopy of twisting branches, and iron charms hung from every corner, clicking softly though there was no wind. Isaiah stood by the door. Of course he did. Arms folded, black shirt changed, jaw locked, eyes tired and too watchful, guarding me. Not touching me. That somehow annoyed me more than the whole supernatural kidnapping situation. I groaned and pulled the blanket over my face. Did I die? No. Shame. A pause. Then, do you need water? I need a lawyer, a passport, and a memory wipe. You nearly had one at Mirror Water? I lowered the blanket enough to glare at him. Too soon, Beta. His mouth twitched. Actual twitch. Normally, I would have celebrated. Unfortunately, memories were returning in pieces. The grapes, the court, me pointing at his trousers like a woman possessed by horny demons and announcing they were lying to God. I pulled the blanket back over my face. Oh my God! Isaiah said nothing, which made it worse. I peeked again. How much did I say? His expression remained calm in a way that felt personally disrespectful. Enough. Enough as in cute enough, or enough as in I can never attend supernatural court again? Both. I made a strangled noise and rolled onto my side. I hate this realm. I hate grapes. I hate the cheekbone prince. I hate that my mouth has no government. You were under Everbloom's influence. I was under public humiliation influence. I sat up, then immediately regretted it when the room swayed. Did I say anything about your dick? Isaiah's eyes darkened. Ah, brilliant. Don't answer, I said quickly. Your silence has already ruined me. He crossed the room and held out a cup. Iron water. Rena prepared it. It will clear the last of the heat. I took it suspicious. If this tastes like battery acid and fairy punishment, I'm blaming you. It does. Fantastic. I drank it anyway. It was disgusting. My tongue tried to resign. Isaiah watched me with that stillness that made him look untouchable. But he wasn't. I knew that now. I had felt him break at mirror water, felt his mouth on mine like he had been starving behind all that discipline. And now he stood across the room, giving me space, like space was not just another kind of rejection. I set the cup down. You can sit, you know. I am fine here. Isaiah. His gaze lifted. I hated how much one look from him could shut my mouth and open every reckless thing in me. You kissed me, I said. His jaw tightened. Yes. Then, after the grape nonsense, you carried me here, let Rena poison me with iron water, and planted yourself by the door like guilty furniture. I was making sure you were safe. There it is. I threw the blanket aside and stood. My legs shook, but I refused to sit back down. Safe, protected, watched, kept away from the scary wolfman because I'm just human, and might crack if he breathes too hard. His expression changed. That is not what you are. Isn't it? My voice came out sharper than I meant, because sometimes I cannot tell if you want me, or if you're just looking after Shanara's fragile best friend. He moved then. One step, not close enough, never close enough. You are not fragile, he said quietly. You are chaos with a pulse. My throat tightened before I could stop it. I pointed at him. That was almost romantic. Try again. His eyes held mine. I want you, he said, not because you are human, not despite it, not because you belong to Shanara's world or wandered into mine. I want you because every time danger comes, you stand there shaking and mouthy and brave, and you make my wolf forget every rule I ever gave him. My breath caught. He looked away first, like the confession had cost him blood. I pulled back because wolves do not want gently, he said. We become possessive, territorial, dangerous. I have seen humans swallowed by that kind of love. I will not make you afraid of me. I stepped closer. I am afraid, I admitted. Pain flashed across his face. I reached for his hand before he could retreat. Not of you, of this place, of magic, of losing my old life, of waking up one day and realizing I became a side character in somebody else's war. I swallowed. But when mirror water showed me normal, I still reached for you. His fingers closed around mine. Careful. Too careful. I remember why I kept my distance now, he said. The lake gave the memory back. And I still want you. The room went painfully quiet. No court, no prince, no grapes. Just him and me with all of the excuses burned away. I placed his hand against my waist, then stopped standing over there like horny security. His breath left him in a rough laugh. There it was. A real one, small, broken. Mine. Maya. No. I rose onto my toes, close enough that my mouth brushed his jaw. I am sober. I am choosing. No fruit, no lake, no spell. I want you, Isaiah. If this is not casual for you, good. I am tired of casual things trying to survive serious feelings. His hand flexed at my waist. If you tell me to stop, I stop. I know. Say it anyway. If I say stop, you stop. Always. I looked up at him. Then kiss me like you remember. He did. Slow at first. So slow it hurts. His mouth touched mine like a question he already feared the answer to. I answered by gripping his shirt and pulling him closer. The restraint in him trembled, then cracked. His arm locked around my waist, and suddenly I was against him, chest to chest, his heartbeat pounding hard enough for both of us. He kissed like control had a breaking point. I kissed like I wanted to be the reason. We stumbled back against the bed, half laughing, half breathing too hard. My fingers dragged his shirt free, and he let me pull it over his head. Then, I forgot whatever clever thing I meant to say because his body was unfair. All strength and heat and scars, built like loyalty learned violence. Rude, I whispered. He frowned. What? Your body. Very rude. His smile touched my mouth before his kiss did. Then, there was no more joking for a while. Only hands. Only breath. Only the careful way he undressed me, pausing at every hitch in my breathing, every tiny hesitation that never became a no. He looked at me like I was not breakable, but precious in a way that made his hunger kneel before my choice. That undid me more than urgency would have. When his mouth moved down my throat, I arched into him, fingers tangling in his hair. He learned me with frightening focus. The places that made me gasp, the places that made my smart mouth fail, the places that made me say his name like it had been pulled out from somewhere deep. He kept asking without words. I kept answering with my body. By the time he settled between my thighs, both of us were shaking. His eyes had gone gold at the edges. Still, yes, he asked, voice wrecked. I cupped his face. Yes. His forehead pressed to mine. Maya. Yes, Isaiah, I want you. He entered me slowly, and the world narrowed to the stretch, the burn, the breath we shared. My nails dug into his shoulders. His jaw clenched like he was fighting every instinct that told him to take, claim, consume. So I wrapped my legs around him and pulled him closer. His control snapped with a growl against my neck. Not violent, not careless, just honest. He moved like a man, losing the war against wanting and still refusing to forget that I mattered. Every thrust dragged sound out of me. Every kiss swallowed it. The bed creaked beneath us. Silver moss flickered overhead. Somewhere outside, the Fae Court whispered, but in that room, Isaiah's hands were the only law I cared about. Laughter broke once, breathless and wild, when I cursed him for being too good at everything. He buried his face against my shoulder. You are impossible. You like impossible. His teeth grazed my skin. I more than like you. Then he moved deeper, and I stopped having language. The climax took me hard, stealing my breath, my jokes, my name for a second. Isaiah followed with a broken sound that felt torn from his soul. His body locking over mine, his arms braced so he would not crush me. For a long time we did not move. Then he kissed my temple. Softly. Too softly for a man who had just ruined me. I smiled against his shoulder. If you become weird now, I will throw something. His laugh rumbled through me, but then he went still. Too still. I lifted my head. What? His eyes had shifted fully gold. His nostrils flared, and something in the room changed. Not danger, not quite. Recognition. His wolf looked out through his eyes and saw me. Not as prey, not as fragile. As mine and not mine at once. Isaiah swallowed hard. Your scent. I narrowed my eyes. Do not make sniffing romantic, I'm warning you. It changed. My chest tightened. Changed how? He touched my wrist, right over the iron alarm charm. Beneath it, my pulse beat wild. "I do not know yet," he said. Outside, a horn sounded through the hollow court. Once, then again. Isaiah's head snapped toward the door. Rena's fist struck the wood from the other side. "Get dressed," she called. "Kaelin has invoked the second trial." Isaiah rose, still watching me like his wolf had found a door it did not understand. I reached for my clothes with shaking hands. From somewhere deep below the court, thorns began to scrape across stone.
The second horn dragged us back into the hollow court before my body had fully remembered how to belong to itself. Ralph walked beside me like war, wearing a black shirt. His hand did not leave my lower back, not once. Not because he thought I would fall, but because Kaelin had touched our bond, and now every inch of Ralph's control had teeth. I felt it through the silver mark, his rage, his fear, his need to keep me close enough that no prince, no court, no ancient dead bargain could reach between us again. The problem was, Kaelin was already there, not in me, not owning me, but watching from the old roots of the hollow gate like a man studying the lock before picking it. The hollow court waited beneath a ceiling of interwoven black branches. Gold sap dripped from the trees into crystal basins. Blood orchids lined the steps of Kaelin's throne, red petals closed tight, waiting for lies. Prince Kaelin Thornvale stood before them dressed in black and silver, his thorn crown resting in his hair like it had grown from his skull. His gaze found me. Not my body first, my face. That made it worse. "Imani of the first threshold," he said softly. "You return marked brighter than before." Ralph growled. Kaelin smiled without looking at him. "And your wolf returns less civilized." I lifted my chin. "You rang the murder horn. Get to the point." Maya, standing behind Isaiah with her hair still a little wild and her expression deeply offended by consciousness, whispered, "That's my girl." Isaiah looked like he wanted to wrap her in iron and bite anyone who asked questions. Interesting. Terrifying. Later problem. Kaelin descended one step. The second trial begins. The trial of possession. The court stirred. My stomach tightened. Ralph's hand flexed against my back. Kaelin's voice slipped through the chamber like silk over a blade. "This trial asks one question. Is the wolf bond protection or possession?" The blood orchids remained closed. Damn it, he was not lying. Not exactly. He looked at Ralph then. "You rejected her, dragged her into your house, hid truths because you believed fear gave you the right. Your bond was born in violence, sharpened by curse, and sealed by blood." Ralph took one step forward. I caught his wrist. The orchids still did not bloom, because Kaelin was using pieces of the truth like broken glass. Kaelin turned back to me. "I offer you something cleaner." I laughed once. "Cleaner? You poisoned me with sex grapes." A few Fae gasped. Maya muttered, "Bride fruit bastard." Kaelin's smile flickered. "I arranged temptation. You chose your answer. You arranged a trap. And yet you survived it." His eyes softened, and that was the dangerous part, not the cruelty, the softness. At RedMoon, they call you Luna, but still they look to him before they obey. Here, you would not have to earn reverence by bleeding for wolves who only now understand your worth. The words hit. I hated that they hit, because RedMoon had doubted me, challenged me, hunted me through its territory like I was a problem with legs. Ralph had learned to choose me, yes, but he had learned with scars in his mouth and apologies that came late. Kaelin saw that little bruise in me and pressed his royal thumb right into it. "The wolf had to learn to choose you," he said. "I was born waiting for you." Ralph lunged. Isaiah caught one arm. Rena grabbed the other. It took both of them and whatever remained of Ralph's sanity to stop him from crossing the court. Kaelin did not move. He only watched me, waiting to see if I liked being desired without hesitation. I stepped forward until Ralph's hand slipped from my back. His eyes cut to me. A flash of hurt. A flash of warning. I kept walking. Kaelin's smile warmed. There you are. I stopped 3 feet from him. You say pretty things for a man trying to turn me into royal property. One blood orchid twitched open. Kaelin's eyes narrowed slightly. Good. I smiled. What's wrong, your thorniness? Flower heard something? The court whispered. Kaelin's voice dropped. You could have power here. I have power now. You have a bond. I have myself. I tapped my glowing shoulder, and I have a wolf who is learning the difference between guarding my back and standing in my way. Behind me, Ralph went very still. Kaelin tilted his head. Then let him prove it. The floor cracked. Roots surged upward in a circle between us, weaving into an arena of black thorns and silver dust. Fey nobles leaned forward, delighted. Of course they were. Rich immortals loved violence when someone else bled. Ralph stepped into the edge of the circle immediately. I challenge you. The court went silent. Kaelin looked almost pleased. You cannot fight me. Coward. The blood orchids did not open. Kaelin laughed softly. No, wolf. Law, a royal claimant may not be struck by a bonded consort unless the royal draws first blood, but the hollow court may name a champion. My skin tightened. The thorns at the far side of the arena opened like a mouth. Someone walked out wearing armor grown from black vines and curved thorns. For one stupid second my mind refused her. Then she lifted her face, Christine, beautiful, poisonous, alive in the worst possible way. Her golden hair had been braided with black briars. Thorn armor hugged her body like the Fey realm had dressed jealousy for war. Dark veins of magic crawled along her throat, pulsing under her skin. Her eyes landed on Ralph with hunger so ugly it almost felt naked. Hello, Alpha, she purred. Ralph's face became death. Maya sucked in a breath. Oh, this bitch again. Christine's gaze slid to me, and her smile sharpened. And the human. I gave her a slow look up and down. And yet here you are, dressed like a haunted garden, still begging for his attention. Maya made a sound behind me that was half laugh, half choke. Christine's smile died. Kaelin lifted one hand. If the wolf wins without killing, his bond stands recognized for this trial. If he kills my champion, he spills protected blood under hollow law, and the claim against Imani strengthens. Of course. A rigged game wrapped in ceremony. Ralph could defeat Christine, but he could not end her. Christine could try to kill him. My pulse slammed against my throat. Ralph entered the circle. I grabbed his arm before the thorns closed. Do not let her make you lose control. His eyes were molten gold. She opened my wards. She endangered my pack. She almost delivered you to him. I know. She deserves death. Yes. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. But not if your rage hands me to Kaelin. That reached him. Barely. His jaw worked. Then his hand came up, rough fingers brushing my cheek. Stay behind the iron line. Don't get stabbed by Barbie Briar. His mouth twitched once. Then the thorns sealed between us. Christine attacked first. Fast. Too fast. She moved like wolf training and Fey poison had married in hell. Thorn blades snapped from her wrists, tipped in silver that gleamed blue under court light. Ralph shifted halfway, claws tearing through his fingers, shoulders broadening, wolf power rippling beneath his skin. He dodged her first strike. The second sliced across his ribs. Blood hit the arena floor. My mark flared. I nearly crossed the line. Rena caught my wrist. Do not. She cut him with silver. And poison, Rena said grimly. Christine laughed as Ralph staggered half a step. Still strong, still beautiful, still wasted. Ralph snarled and struck. His claws tore across her armor, ripping thorns free. Christine flew back, hit the arena wall, and rolled. Vines dragged her upright like puppet strings. Dark Fey magic. Kaelin's magic. I turned on him. You're feeding her. He looked at the duel, not me. I support my champion. Blood orchids stayed closed. Fucking technicalities. Inside the ring, Christine circled Ralph. He wanted a Luna, she called, loud enough for the court. He settled for a wound with a mouth. Something hot and old rose in me. Before Ralph could react, I stepped to the iron line. And yet I'm the one he chose, I said. You betrayed a whole pack and ran into fairyland for a makeover. That's not power, Christine, that's desperation with accessories. Her face twisted. She threw 3 thorn darts, not at Ralph, at me. They struck the invisible iron ward and burst into black smoke inches from my face. Ralph lost control. Not fully. Enough. He crossed the arena in a blur and slammed Christine into the thorn wall so hard the whole court shook. His claws closed around her throat. "Ralph!" I shouted. His fingers tightened. Christine smiled through blood. "Do it." Kaelin leaned forward, waiting. The court leaned with him, waiting for Ralph to kill her, waiting for his love to become the weapon they claimed it was. I pressed my palm to my mark. Ralph Blackwood. His head snapped toward me. Not Alpha, not Wolf. Mine, but not owned. "Come back to me," I said. The silver bond surged. Ralph released Christine and drove his claws into the wall beside her head instead. The court hissed in disappointment. Christine's knee came up, catching him in the stomach. Then her thorn blade plunged into his shoulder. Silver. "Poison," Ralph roared. I felt it through the bond like metal in my own flesh, but at that same moment something else moved beneath the court. A tremor, low, wet. Wrong. I looked past the arena, past Kaelin's throne, toward the far arch where the poisoned river ran behind black stone. Earlier, it had smelled like rot and flowers. Now it smelled like smoke, burned meat, vampire ash. My blood went cold. The river beyond the arch bubbled, thick and dark. Red light pulsed under the surface like something breathing beneath skin. No one was looking. Everyone watched Ralph. Everyone watched Christine bleed and laugh and strike again. Kaelin was using the duel as theatre, as cover. I stared at the river and saw a hand rise through the poisoned water, charred fingers. Too long, tipped with claws made of cinder and bone. My stomach dropped through the floor. The burned man was not dead. He was becoming something else. The hand gripped the riverbank. Then a ruined voice crawled through the arch, soft as ash and full of hunger. "Dream girl." The burned man said my name like he had teeth in every syllable. "Dream girl." The hollow court stopped breathing. Even the thorns seemed to listen. Ralph tore the silver thorn blade out of his shoulder with a sound that made my stomach twist. Black poison veined beneath his skin, but he stayed upright, because apparently dying politely was not in his skill set. Christine staggered back from him, blood on her mouth, satisfaction in her eyes. Then she looked toward the poisoned river. Her smile cracked. Beyond the arch, charred fingers gripped the riverbank. The water bubbled around them, thick and red-black, and something dragged itself upward 1 ruined inch at a time. Not a vampire, not Fae, something fucked up in between. Kaelin's expression sharpened for the first time since I had met him. Good. The prince could bleed surprise after all. "What did your court do?" I demanded. His dark eyes cut to mine. "My court did not create that." "No, because it looks like your river is giving birth to nightmare leftovers." Maya made a strangled noise behind me. I hate when she describes things accurately. Isaiah had one arm around her and one blade drawn. His eyes glowed gold, fixed on the arch. Rena stood between us and the court, iron knife ready, face tight with fear she was too proud to admit. Ralph limped towards me. I moved before I could think, slipping beneath the half-open thorns of the arena. Kaelin's guards hissed, but the blood orchids near his throne burst open, spilling red nectar down their stems. Truth. The second trial had ended. Kaelin looked at the flowers, then at Ralph. "The trial of possession acknowledges restraint," he said, each word bitten clean. "The wolf could have killed and did not." Ralph reached me, breathing hard, rage and poison rolling off him. I caught his face in both hands. "Look at me." His eyes were almost fully wolf. "You should not be this close to me while silver is in my blood." I've survived worse than your bad mood. His mouth twitched, then twisted when pain hit. Christine used that moment. Of course she did. The thorn wall behind her opened like a wound, and she slipped into it, armor cracked, hair tangled with blood-dark briars. "Christine!" Ralph snarled. She looked back once, not at me. At him. "You chose wrong," she whispered. Then the thorn swallowed her. Ralph lunged, but I held on. "No! She escapes again. And if you chase her while that burnt bastard crawls out of Satan's bathwater, I will personally knock you unconscious." Maya pointed weakly. "I support this domestic violence for safety reasons." A deep crack split through the floor. The whole court lurched. Kaelin lifted one hand, and black roots surged up beneath us, dragging the arena, the throne, the blood orchids, all of us toward the far arch as if the realm itself had decided we were late. The poisoned river widened. Beyond it stood the hollow gate. Not RedMoon's broken arch beneath the house, but its true face. Massive, ancient, crowned in black thorns and silver bone. A red crack pulsed down its center like a wound refusing to close. My mark burned. The gate knew me. Worse, it wanted an answer. Kaelin stepped beside me, close enough that Ralph's growl shook the stone. "You stand at the third threshold," the prince said softly. "The final trial." I laughed without humor. Convenient timing. Law responds to crisis. The rot beneath the river is feeding on what your blood opened. "My blood?" I snapped. "Dave opened that gate. Your queen tried to buy me. Your court kept the bargain alive. Don't put every dead thing on my shoulders because I'm the nearest woman." The blood orchids bloomed harder. Red nectar splashed Kaelin's boots. His jaw tightened. Ralph's hand slid around my waist, warm and shaking. "We leave. Now." The gate pulsed. A ring of thorns rose behind us, sealing the path back. Kaelin's voice lowered. "She cannot leave until she chooses." Ralph turned on him. "She already chose." "Not according to the first bargain." The air thickened. Silver symbols burned across the floor in a language my bones understood before my mind could catch up. 3 paths opened in front of me. One led to Ralph. Red moonlight, wolf shadow, blood, pack, danger, love with claws. One led to Kaelin, a black crown, silver trees, a throne waiting beneath a sky that never saw dawn. One led straight into the gate's red crack. Death smelled cold. Kaelin faced me, no mockery now. "Choose RedMoon, and the wolf bond remains, but the gate stays wounded. Rot will keep rising. Vampires, fae, whatever that creature becomes, your London will bleed." Ralph went still. Kaelin extended his hand. "Choose the hollow court, and I bind the gate through our royal claim. I give you the names your family buried. I teach you what you are. No wolf council will question whether you belong. No one will dare look at you and see mistake." That hit somewhere deep and ugly, because I wanted answers. I wanted my bloodline to stop being a curse people discovered before I did. I wanted to walk into a room and not have every monster decide what part of me belonged to them. Ralph felt the temptation through the bond. His pain hit me like a blade, but he did not grab me, did not order, did not beg. He only said, rough and ruined, "Whatever you choose, make it yours." My throat tightened. Kaelin's expression shifted, almost irritated. Then he showed me the third path. "Choose death," he said, "and the gate closes forever. No bride, no heir, no key. Your blood seals what your blood opened." Maya gasped. "Absolutely fucking not." Isaiah snarled, "Careful, Prince." Kaelin's eyes stayed on me. "Every throne has a cost, Imani." I stared at the 3 paths. Wolf, crown, grave, and suddenly I was so tired I could have screamed. Men, courts, gods, ancestors, curses, always handing me cages with different decorations. I stepped away from Ralph. His hand fell from my waist, but he let it. I stepped away from Kaelin too. His offered hand remained empty. Then I walked to the center of all 3 paths and planted my bloody palm against my silver mark. "No." The gate shuddered. Kaelin's eyes narrowed. "That is not one of the choices." "Then your choices are shit." The blood orchids exploded open around the gate, petals dripping red like the realm itself had been cut. I lifted my voice. Men keep handing me choices shaped like cages and calling it destiny. The floor cracked beneath my feet. I am Shanara Imani Adeyemi Baptiste, human, fey-blooded, RedMoon's chosen Luna, no one's property, not wolf-owned, not court-owned, not bride, not sacrifice. The gate screamed. Wind tore through the chamber, whipping my hair across my face. Ralph shouted my name, but I held my ground. I am not choosing between love, power, and death because a bunch of ancient bastards lacked imagination. Silver light burst from my mark. Roots shot from it, not black this time, not sick, but bright as moonlit metal. They slammed into the floor, into the gate, into the riverbank where the burned man's ruined body was almost free. He screamed. The sound made my bones hurt. Kaelin stepped back, eyes wide. The black crown path shattered. The bride claim broke like glass. I felt it leave my bloodline, something old and cold ripping free from my womb, my ribs, my name. I dropped to my knees, choking on relief and pain. Ralph was there instantly, catching me before I hit the stone. Shanara. I'm okay, I lied. The blood orchids stayed open. Damn flowers. Kaelin looked at them, then at me, and slowly smiled. Not victorious, but not defeated enough. The royal betrothal is broken, he said. Ralph's arms tightened around me, then opened the way. Kaelin's gaze lowered to the silver roots still embedded in the gate. Bride, no, but the threshold has answered her. Cold slid through me. Rena whispered, "Oh no." Words burned across the arch in silver fire. Threshold air. My stomach dropped. Kaelin's smile became something almost reverent. You refused the crown, he said, so the gate gave you the key beneath it. Ralph surged to his feet, pulling me with him. No. The gate pulsed once. A command settled into my bones. Not ownership, duty, which frankly was ownership wearing a respectable coat. Kaelin said, when the hollow gate calls, she must answer, not as my bride, as its heir. Before Ralph could rip his throat out, the poisoned river erupted. The burned man rose, tall, charred, crowned in cinder horns, with fey rot flowering through the cracks of his burned skin. His eyes glowed red beneath a mask of ash and bone. He smiled at me with too many teeth. Key? He rasped. Then the gate flung us backward. The world tore open. Stone became shadow. Shadow became RedMoon's basement, and I landed hard in Ralph's arms beneath the cracked arch under the house. Everyone crashed around us. Maya hit the floor, cursed, then gagged. Isaiah caught her. Maya! She clutched her stomach. Why do I smell those fucking grapes? Something rolled from her torn bag. One black-purple everbloom grape, dusted silver. It split open on the stone. Inside was not fruit. It was a tiny silver seed beating like a heart. Kaelin's voice whispered through the crack. Fertility is never only about children, Imani. Sometimes it births kingdoms. My hand tightened around Ralph's arm as the silver seed beat faster on the stone. What the hell is that supposed to mean? I asked. The crack in the hollow gate widened by the width of a fingernail, and when Kaelin answered, all the silk had gone from his voice. It means you did not close the hollow gate, Imani. You fertilized it, and the thing growing on the other side already has Ralph's blood and your name.
Stay in my arms when the morning touches your face. I forget every heavy thing. Even silence sounds like music when you breathe next to me. Stay in my arms tonight. Let the world fade slowly. Your name feels like a prayer on my lips, like heaven finally knows me. out and my fears grow weaker, like shadows losing shape. And every dream I bury deep inside starts waking up again. Hold me close when the nights turn cold, when my strength feels out of place. Your touch is the only language that calms the storm in me. Stay in my arms tonight, don't let go too early. I would trade every breath I own just to keep